Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 244. Zoho Show and Zapier, forget about it. Recorded on March 31st, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Where in God's name is this year going? March 31st, the quarter's over. Holy shamoly. Wow. I tell you. Anyway, 244. So what is divide that by 52? I guess we're coming up on 5. So 52 times 5 is going to be what 260?
Yeah, 260 will be 5 years.
So we are 16 episodes away from 5 years of the CRM Zen Show. Holy shamoly, man. That is crazy. Anyway, all right, everybody, let us get right on into the show, and we'll start with announcements and events. All righty. We've mentioned this. This has been going on now for a while, but all announcements and events have been moved over to Club Zenatta. If you haven't checked it out, it is our online community where you can go ahead and talk about everything Zoho. If you click on the home screen, you'll see all the upcoming events, and they're not just from us. They're from us and Zoho and any other partners or anybody doing anything that has to do with Zoho. We will put it there. And then over on your nice little sidebar, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can kind of click in, see any announcements that are going on. Introducing Azaz, that's our new Q&A show where we moved all the questions. They're no longer part of this show. They're on a whole separate show that airs Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Ask Zenatta anything about Zoho, and we cover all the questions. And then if you click into the Zenatta one, you'll see all that we have upcoming. Zoho Social full product overview is going to be dropping on April 18th. We don't have anything to do with that one, Tyler. Who do we have doing that?
I think we've got Wayne primarily doing that one. He's going to kind of pick someone to jump in with him. But he's our director of marketing, Wayne. So we thought it would be good to have him kind of go through his take on Zoho Social, some of the best practices and use cases there.
You can also click into Zoho and check out all of the Zoho events. Starting in April, Zoholics for the U.S. is kicking off the first time since 2019, a 4-year hiatus. We will, so if you're going there, they're separating them out this year. You've got one in Pleasanton, one in Jersey City, and then they're wrapping it up on May 4th in Austin, Texas. So check that out. That's over at zenatta.com/events, and that'll redirect you over to Club Z, straight over to our events page. So check that out. And with that, Tyler, oh, by the way, I just found out you're doing it with Wayne.
Yes, it's me. Yeah, Wayne let me know it's me doing that.
You're doing it. Perfect. All right. And with that, let's get into our news. All right. What would a week be without some ChatGPT news? And this one is super, super cool. So the team over at the Zoho in the Office group, the Zoho Writer team, they have done an integration of ChatGPT into Zoho Writer. And this is not just trivial like, oh, click here, it'll drop it in. They've done some nice stuff here. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can generate content and, it will go ahead and generate content based upon, what you've got. You can have it suggest a headline. So you can actually copy and paste your entire thing in and it will come up with a headline for you. You can have it generate a tweet based upon your content. You can have it correct your punctuation. I did not know ChatGPT did all of these things, but evidently it does. You can have it rephrase things. So the example they're giving is a Dale Carnegie quote. So if you want to, take credit for some Dale Carnegie stuff, you can go ahead and do that. They will, it's super nice. I mean, really excellent stuff.
That's a good implementation as well. I like how they kind of built it into the UI. So it's not just like you ask it a question, but they've kind of predefined a bunch of different types of prompts. Because as, Freddie on our team who runs the, Podcaster Zen and does our show uses these AI tools a lot. And what he's found is that asking it a question the right way really affects your output. And so the fact that because they're going to take what you write in there and they're wrapping it, right? That's what they're doing here when they say generate tweet or
Right.
rephrase, right? They're putting the directions in there. So it's really nice the way they've done that. So you can kind of see the different types of actions you could have the bot take on your behalf.
Yep.
So yeah, really
Yeah, and you can
cool.
go ahead and, copy and paste it, and you can, insert any of the text directly into your document. It's a great implementation. Um, Kudos to the team. So all of the chat GPTers out there. Um, I don't know. It's getting more and more powerful. Have you played with 4 yet?
No, I haven't played with it.
I
I
have
haven't
not
played with it
either.
quite yet.
I bet you it's Freddie. Have you played with it?
Oh yeah, I'm getting really really good at it. So yeah, I'm
So
not sure what
4.0
I
is
could tell you about it, but um, I didn't really notice a difference from 3.5 to 4 because of what I was asking it. But I'm loving on 4 and what it gives me. And
fantastic. Anyway, all right, moving on with the news. You can now import data from Bigin into CRM. So you've always been able to do a synchronization between Bigin and CRM, but that's mostly around contacts, accounts, deals, pipelines, those kind of things. Um, this is now, if you're in Zoho CRM, you've got a team on Bigin, and you say, you know what, we want to just move everybody over to Zoho CRM. You can go ahead and do a full blown migration from Bigin to CRM, and it's gonna pretty much pull everything over: your accounts, your attachments, your calls, your deals, your contacts, your notes, your events, your photos, tasks, and users. So for those of you that are Bigin users, or you've got it and you basically want to make that migration over, go for it. I think we find in most cases that companies, if you're on Zoho One, if they're using both, they're just doing the synchronization.
Yeah.
The sales guys in the field love Bigin, and just sales guys in general might like it because it's really simple, more of a pipe drive type of thing if you're unfamiliar with
Yeah.
it. But if you're
It'd be
making that
nice though
switch,
for
then
people that are, I have had a couple calls with prospects lately that are just using Bigin and they're thinking about Zoho One, right? And so this is one of those things where, because I think Bigin, my understanding at least for Zoho is it's supposed to be kind of like a grab product, right? It's really inexpensive. It does its core stuff really well, and then you can grow into the rest of the Zoho ecosystem. And so this actually to me makes a lot of sense, right? So if you're at that point and you now want to have CRM become the main home base, right? Just being able to push all your stuff over and then turn that sync on is really nice because now you don't lose any data, and you can kind of implement the big CRM pretty easily this way.
that's true. And then still have the sync, right? Not a bad
Yeah, and now
idea.
have the sync. You can still use Big in mobile, but now you've got all your attachments, all your notes, all the hard to migrate stuff, right? That normally
Yeah.
isn't really supported. So yeah, that's really slick.
Well done. And moving on with the news now. So 3 notebook updates to personalize. So Notebook has been on fire lately. I don't think they've released it to the public, but they do have an early release where Notebook now connects with CRM. We've had people asking us, "Hey, I heard you talk about it, but it's not there." But trust me, it is. It just hasn't been released yet. And then we have got basically now you've come up with some notebook updates that help you kind of better collaborate with notes. So you can grant access to share your notes with whomever you want. They basically have been changing these sharing privileges over time. And now they've made it possible to share your notes with a share access, which means they can view and edit the notes as well. And you can share them with anyone you want. Super, super nice. They also are, you can now change the color of your text. So you could never do that before. Now you can. That's a nice thing. I will, little to the Zoho team here. If you're watching us on YouTube, I don't think you want to illustrate the changing of color of text on a gold background with, I guess we decided that's brown that they changed
Looks
it
like
to. Anyway,
brown. Our best guess is that ASTA VP statement is brown. So we'll take their word
yes.
for it. You can, in fact, do this.
You can
Um,
change the color and you can highlight text now, and that means really highlight it, not just look like you've selected on the screen, which is what this one shows. But you could actually have a highlight color and select a highlight color as well. So, um, good stuff.
yeah, why not? I mean, these aren't earth-shattering improvements or updates, I think, right? But never hurts, right? The more that you can do in a note tool like this, the better. So let's just take the word for it. Again, the screenshots maybe could have been done a little differently, but I'm assuming all
And the
these
thing,
things are going to work just fine when you actually get in there and use it.
I'm going to take their word for it, but if you're watching us on YouTube again, the toolbar up across the top doesn't really have anything for coloring, right? It doesn't really have any of the things that you would the icons you would normally associate with chain text color, or maybe you think this little A with the underline, maybe.
Maybe that's where they parked all of them under like a sub menu or something
Ah,
like
that's probably where they're at. Probably where they're
that.
at.
Gotta be.
Anyway, that's a super, super nice update for Notebook. All kidding aside, that's nice. And I'm loving Notebook now because we did get in on the beta, and it is now whenever I'm typing a note inside of the CRM now, it's just all a Notebook note. It's so nice just to have that rich text formatting because we've never gotten rich text note formatting inside of CRM notes. So there we
Yeah, I
go.
think the only
But
challenge, if you're listening, Zoho, I'll do one of my, once a month if you're listening here. Sure would be nice if the notes from Zoho Notebook rolled up in the CRM hierarchy the same way that the Flex or the previous notes did. So I could take a note on a deal and have it show up on the account. Right now, the notebook integration is just for one record. That totally makes sense. It's still early access. It's new out of the gate. But if they can make it roll up, I would switch over immediately for all my note taking. But sometimes that roll up is nice, right? You take a note on a deal, someone can just look at
yeah.
the account later and see it. So I'm sure it's on the roadmap somewhere, but that would be kind of the last nail in the coffin for me in the old notes in CRM.
And I think it's more than once a month. Freddie, I think you should take a note. This would be a great one of our year-end bloopers. Just every time Tyler goes, if you're listening, Zoho, and you can just have like you probably say that. I want to say 20, 30 times a year. We'll see. Anyway, but it's a good one. All righty, moving on. This is pretty slick. So in Zoho bookings, man, this is a major enhancement. Tyler, we've yet to play with this. This just came out a little while ago. Today, I think, this dropped. You can now, they've really changed the calendar connections. They've done some super nice enhancements with them now. This was always a big problem. But if I'm reading this, it appears you now have real-time synchronization, real-time checking of not of multiple calendars. So if you're a Google Calendar user, you've got 8 calendars, you want to check all of them. It looks like it'll do it. The bookings can now be added to a specific calendar. So you can actually
Right.
have them add those bookings to your Google Calendar. Um, I don't know. This looks good.
It's getting better and better. I mean, I know Josh and our team, not with this most recent update, but they made some updates to the Google Calendar integration a couple months back. And I know he's been playing with it and has been pretty impressed in terms of like, the classic problem with bookings used to be that you could just get double booked, right? It wouldn't properly sync with your Google Calendar. And now you got 2 meetings at the same time. Doesn't really seem like that's much of an issue now. So
Right.
yeah, we should circle back and test it as long as we can make sure that the Zoom link is added properly and it's kind of nicely associated so it shows up at the right time and all that. The nitty
Well,
gritty stuff. But solving for the calendar integrations is like 90% of our issues with bookings. So if they
yeah, the
can get
one
that
thing,
across the line, I mean, hey, we've
it's
joked about
close,
it
but I,
before. We'd love to save 10 grand a year on Calendly,
yeah.
move ourselves
But if you're
over.
listening, Zoho, I think that the one major thing that was missing is the ability to check two people's calendars.
Yes.
Wasn't that still a thing?
They can round robin, right? So you could say it's going to book with me or Brett, but you can't say it's going to book with me and Brett and require that we're both free at that time. Unless something's changed. I haven't played with it in a little while, but that
Yeah.
always was kind of like a gate for us is not being able to do that.
Anybody in the chat room who's listening, if you want to let us know if that has been fixed, because that would be that'd be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's kind of
collective.
the one thing's kind of holding it back here. All right, and moving on with the news. The show title comes from this one. You can now automate your business workflows with the Zoho Show Zapier integration. You're kind of scratching your head on this one, Tyler.
I mean, why not?
It's
The more things that can be integrated to other things, the better. I can't think of a lot of use cases myself where I would want to like programmatically create PowerPoints or like slideshows. The example they're showing here is like if you had a new campaign in Zoho campaigns and you wanted to make a presentation and show each time that happened, maybe to like show the effectiveness of the campaign and report, So I get it. I get it. Why not?
yeah,
It never hurts, right? To have things connected via API, right? The interesting thing with the show would be like if you could pass in like pre-filled parameters, right? So if you could say like, let's say you sent that campaign, if you could merge in the number of people it went to and the
right.
open rate and the click rate, and then kind of pre-bake a presentation, that might be interesting. But yeah, it's one of those ones. It's sometimes just don't know how it gets to the top of the list. We'll have to see. There's
It's
got to
always
be a
sad
use
to be
case
a.
for it that I'm just not getting though, right? Because it's
I have a feeling this was a request from a rather large enterprise client, is my
yeah, it's got
guess.
to be something that someone came
So,
up with here, and
so
I just don't see it.
yeah.
But hey, I'm always for more things being API enabled and connected through Zapier, Flow, tools like that. Why not, right?
Yep. All right. And moving on with the news, wrapping it up. If you are a WhatsApp user and you have WhatsApp integrated with Zoho Desk, then pay attention. Previously, WhatsApp had 14 template categories, but Facebook has decided that that's too many categories and they're going to condense them down to three. Those are marketing, authentication, and utility. So all the stuff's being moved into those three categories, and you will need to update those over in Desk. So
Got it.
for
I think that
those
totally makes
few,
sense, right? Those are the three different types of sends that are going out, right? So
yeah,
simplifying it is just going to make people's life easier, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. So pretty simple, but just make sure you update your templates. And it looks like the migration started on March 27th. Basically, Meta's doing it for you. Meta's
Yeah.
recategorizing and
Yeah, it
redoing
looks
things. So
like
you
pretty
just need
much
to go
everything
into
that
Desk.
already exists should be
Yep.
recategorized for you, but you should review them and make sure, right? Just to make sure that everything is kind of in the proper bucket.
All right. And that is going to wrap up the news, which brings us to our implementation of the week. Take it away, Tom.
Alrighty, so this implementation this week was built by Josh Oliver as well as Jason here, one of our developers inside of Zoho Creator. This is a build out to actually build a little UI to manage email templates inside of Creator. And so you might think, why would I need this kind of like pre-baked UI in here? Well, the reality is that when you build a Creator application, right, it's going to have lots and lots of moving pieces. But some of the things that the CRM does, like give you a native place to store email templates, don't exist in Creator. It's more of a development platform that you have to build these types of things yourself. And so in this case, the goal was pretty much to give our client a place where they could create their own email templates and use them themselves throughout Creator, as needed, without having to build, an email template inside of a deluge script, right? Where we're predefining everything in there, because that makes it so the client can't really make these changes themselves if they want to change the language. Now, the cool thing about this implementation is that it's not just the templates. Jason and Josh actually built a UI here to be able to choose fields from CRM records and automatically add those merge tags to the template so that it really gives you that same type of use case and workflow that you have in CRM, right? So essentially, we built a module for the email templates, really simple module. Essentially has subject line, the name of the template, a place to pick which fields you want to merge, and then a big rich text, right, for you to write in everything else. As you pick a field, so let's say you want to pull in like contact first name, you can just pick that in your drop down. It's going to give you that as a response, the exact merge tag that you need to use. You can just copy paste that right into the template wherever you'd like that value to show up. And then last but not least, right, when we actually go to send it out, it's super slick. So let's say I had one of those records in Creator. I click the send email button. That kind of pulls up a form. I can pick the template and it'll actually show me that content with the values merged in before I confirm it and send it out. So it really does create almost the same kind of like email management and email sending workflow that we have inside of CRM, but just natively built into a Creator application. So pretty slick. Great job to Josh and Jason. This is one of those ones that, you would kind of just think that Creator has that same like email templates page, but it's just not really the purpose of the app. So when you want something like that, you do occasionally just have to build custom. But this is a pretty fun one, and one that I would assume we're going to be using again, right? Because this is a pretty regular use case.
Yeah, it's nice. So they basically built out the entire template module in CRM over in Creator, huh?
Yeah.
Very
The nice thing
slick.
here is really just to give the client more autonomy, right? Like in an ideal world, if a client wants a new email template, they should be able to make it, and not have to come to us to kind of like hard code it into the back end of the system, right? It's not a super scalable way to do your emailing. So this kind of helps give that autonomy back to the client when they're in Zoho Creator.
Nice job, Josh and Jason. And with that, let's head back over to Club Zenatta, all you geeks, and look at our code share of the week. And we've got not one, not two, but three code shares this week, Tyler. So first one comes from Alex, and one of our fine developers here over at Zenatta, and he has done something cool here. It's called monitoring changes in import files with Zoho Creator's old keyword. So this is a Zoho Creator implementation, and what's he got going on here?
This is really slick. I didn't know this was a thing in Creator until I read this, and knowing that it's in Creator makes me really want it in CRM. So essentially what Alex has done here is give you a template or kind of roadmap to have functions looking at fields and referencing the old value of that field. So the use case here, I'll kind of walk you through it. Imagine you've defined email on a record as very important, where if that field is changed, we need to be notified, something needs to happen, right? The challenge is when you write a script, you can say, when email is changed, send an email, and say that the email for John Smith was just changed to this new email. But what if you wanted to include the old email in that message, right? So that we could easily change it back if it wasn't correct, right? That's where you need to use this old keyword. And so essentially what he's doing here is he's saying if the old important field does not match the new important field, right, then do a thing. And there's tons of use cases for this, right? Like now, I didn't even know this was here, but you could say like, hey, a quote is in a certain status and we change the total from 50 to 25. Maybe somebody should be notified, hey, a quote that was 50
Right.
is now 25. Let's check in with the sales rep, right? Like, hey, a deal moved to close lost from negotiation, right? Like there's so many of these cases where having that previous state is super useful in notification. So great job to Alex. Again, I didn't even know this was here. I really wish it was also in CRM. That would be just amazing, right? For some of that, some of the workflows there. But great one to get out there because I've been working with Zoho for a long time and I had no idea that this was a functionality in Creator.
Great job. And then moving on to our second code share of the week, Elizabeth Clarke, one of our super users, is back with forcing default tax on an item. So in Zoho Books or inventory, it's easy to forget to specify a default tax setting. And she's got a little bit of code that kind of solves that for you. So really tight little implementation. But if you are forgetting to automatically charge tax, if you're forgetting to put it in, this will kind of fix all of that for you. Pretty nice workflow here.
Yeah, really slick. Looks like it's done on an item level, right? So basically ensures that anytime you're creating items, it's going to set that default. Elizabeth did highlight that this is a good idea if your taxes are pretty consistent and predictable, right? So if you've got weird taxation, things like that, you might need to consider it a little bit separately.
Yeah. And she's over in the UK, and I think that's a flat tax over there. I don't know. I mean, you got the VAT and some other things, right? But it might get a little more complicated here in the States where you have not just the state tax, but then it goes down to the county level and the city level. And, sales tax varies from, you can walk across the street and you have a different sales tax, but very cool. Alrighty. And then moving right along to the last code share, back to Alex. And this is basically download a URL for a CRM invoice record using CRM invoice template and WorkDrive. So rather than just grabbing that invoice This is a CRM invoice, not a Zoho Books invoice, right?
Yeah.
So basically, rather than, if you're using Books, you can just go ahead and get a link and send it out. But this is a methodology of grabbing it, downloading it, putting it over in WorkDrive, generating a link out of WorkDrive, and being able to send it to someone that way.
Yep. And this is kind of one of those generalized tools where, let's say you wanted to do this, but with like a writer document, right? The first two steps might be different, but loading it to WorkDrive and grabbing that download link will be the same, right? And we find ourselves doing that a ton, right? Generate some kind of document via a button, via a workflow, whatever we need to do, parking it in WorkDrive, grabbing that link, bringing it back. That is, it's a huge value add of WorkDrive as part of CRM and part of Zoho One. So yeah, another good code share from Alex. This is one that we do a lot of, right? Especially those last couple steps around getting it into WorkDrive itself.
Fantastic. And I know I mentioned it every show, but if you haven't, please head over to club.zenatta. All we want is your email, and you will have access to the entire community, helpful tips like this, things we notice, general discussion, tutorial. You can request a tutorial that you want, all those kind of things. It is booming over at Club Z. Really, I can't believe, I feel like this upgrade we made to the whole new social media platform has really lit a fire under Club Z. So check it out. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta and see what's happening over there over at zenatta.com. We have a brand shiny new case study out. Thank you so much to Trinity Engineering. They gave us just a lovely case study. They've got 15 employees. They operate in 15 states. And basically, they had a kind of a diverse tech stack, and they kind of wanted it all pulled together. And we helped them do that with Zoho One and Zoho Creator, Zoho Desk, a whole bunch of things. And it's been a extreme pleasure working with these guys. Thanks to Catherine and everyone over there for the lovely case study.
Absolutely.
And also, we've got a brand new blog over at Zenatta, which is 3 tips to fire up your organization's culture. We've talked about it in the past. We work with a company called Fired Up Culture. If you're not doing this in your organization, I would highly recommend it. You can do culture surveys, see what everybody actually thinks about your company, if they actually recommend people to work there. You can do 360 reviews, where basically your executives can get reviewed by the overall staff. There's just so much you can do. And this is just kind of generally about building your culture, things you want to do there, defining your missions and values. Communicate. That's great, not only in business, but in marriage, recognize and reward good work. And we give you some resources here. We talk about how a lot of this ties in directly with Zoho, and a nice little link and shout out to the team over at Fired Up Culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Love working with the guys over there. Nothing but good things to say about Fired Up. And it is an important cycle, right? Just making sure that we're consistently gathering some feedback and input from the team.
And while we're here, there's an ad running in the middle of this blog, which is for Message Media. And if you missed our webinar we did on this, kind of interview with them where we went through it, this is our number one favorite SMS for Zoho CRM. And if you go there, and we've got a special link on our website, you can find it. You go click on it, you're going to get 50% off your first 3 months. So if you're looking for a good SMS solution for your Zoho CRM, check out Message Media. We think you will like it. And with that, let's head on over to our tip of the week. Well, Josh is on fire here. This is Shopify to Zoho inventory integration and automation. This is a nice little 25-minute video on how that integration works and how to best do it. And it is well done. We've been spending a lot of time in Shopify inventory, all this kind of things lately. And Josh has been leading the way on this, so pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great video. I mean, like, if you are going to do Shopify and inventory and Zoho inventory, Josh actually walks you through a couple of the functions that we set up for almost every single one of our clients that does this integration. And then what's even better is if you look in the description of this video, it actually links over to the code share where Josh will actually provide essentially the code that he's using in this video to actually get the job done. So highly recommend it. If you're doing Shopify and you're thinking about Zoho, watch this video, right? Because it's going to walk you through exactly what that configuration is going to look like, as well as some of the best practices and customizations that we layer on top. So great video to get out there. Shout out to Josh on that one. We've needed this one for a while. So highly recommend taking a look.
And if you don't know, if you head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, that is where you will find all of our videos. Boy, Tyler, I thought we were going to hit 10,000 subscribers this week, but we are just a little shy, a little less than 50 shy. I think we're like 42 or 43 or something like that. So we're getting close. So definitely that'll probably happen tomorrow or over the weekend for sure. But we want to thank everybody for all of your support. But again, I used to say all the time that, we produce more content on Zoho than anybody except Zoho. And, I started running some numbers on the background, and we now produce more content on Zoho than anybody else. So it's, give us, check it out. Really relevant content, useful, actionable things, and you will find it over on youtube.com/Zenatta. Thanks everybody again for our support. And normally this would be where Tyler and I go to Q&As, but I do want to remind everybody that Q&A has been moved over to its own show, which is Azaz, and which is Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. You can watch all of the episodes on our YouTube channel, or if you want to head over to Club Z, we have the complete roundup there, all the questions as well, and you can watch it there. And this is really good. We're doing screen shares now. I think the active engagement, I think having Josh and Greg on, Tyler, has really added a lot to this. Just
Absolutely.
Kind of, bumping up the quality of these answers. And we're going to have kind of a rotating group coming through here, but it's, right now we're kind of just testing it out, and the response has been fantastic. So again, thank you everybody so much for your support on that. And with that, that's going to wrap our show, buddy.
Yeah, great week. Headed into some good weather this weekend. Looking forward to, I guess it's the end of Q1. Here we are, 1 quarter into the year. Who knew?
I know. It's crazy. I feel like your weather is, you get your good weather like a day after us, so we just had the rain, it comes through, you get the snow, and then it clears up. I looked at the weather report. Southern California will not have rain for the next 10 days of the forecast. I'm excited. That'll be nice.
Back to drought with you.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for get a hold of Tyler and myself. Please head over to Zenatta.com and click on book a meeting.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would subscribe to our newsletter to get that news delivered to your inbox every single Monday, and subscribe to us here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.